afternoon. My name is Joseph Lloyd and I source cars for people on a professional basis, hence the name of my channel, Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. 4 years ago, I was asked to come up with a series of videos that were filmed inexpensively. We don't use digital cameras, we don't use fluid head tripods, we don't use shotgun microphones, we wear tatty shirts, we just use a phone. But we look at cars that you can buy for a budget up to £1,000 only, and we very much enjoy ourselves. These are cars that might be in cosmetically bad condition. You might see oil leaks, rattly dashboards and cosmetic imperfections, but we go all over the country and we find these very inexpensive cars that you all seem to enjoy watching. Well, viewers, two things were inevitable. One, that I'd be driving another Peugeot 306 at some point on No Budget Reviews, and two, we'd be back at LSB car sales near Fatcham in Berkshire to view some lovely, inexpensive cars this afternoon. So this is a 1998 306 1.4 Equinox Special Edition. This is a Phase 2 car. Phase 2 cars were introduced in 1997 and ran till 1999 when the Phase 3 came out, and then the 306 hatchback was discontinued entirely in 2001. The Estates ran until 2002 and the Cabrio until 2003. Still a nice looking design. Some people would probably prefer the look of the early cars, the Phase 1s. I actually prefer the Phase 3 myself, but you know, it's all just a matter of opinion, isn't it? So it looks good in this paint. The car's not perfect. It's lived in London most of its life, I think, and we've got some sort of scratches and things on it and a bit of missing trim here. But actually the paint is really, really good on this car. It's surprisingly good. It's not lacquer peel or bloom or anything. It looks nice in this kind of metallic red colour. One of the things we'll see, and there's the details for LSB car sales if you want to get in touch. We'll see about this car. We've got original dealer plates on it, and the boot is really big. Now you would, if you didn't know about these cars, start searching for the for spare inside the boot floor, but it's not here. It's actually underneath the car, which is just like the old 205 used to be. And the platform for these cars is very similar to a 205 but enlarged. Boot struts could probably do replacing, as you can see, but you know, it's not the end of the world, is it? So the Equinox Special Edition, which only ran in 1998, was kind of based, I think, on the L model, which was the bottom of the range one at the time. But there were some things you got extra, and we'll show them one of them immediately, which was this sort of green interior, which is interesting, and then a sunroof. So we've got central locking in this car. It does work on both sides, so I just tried it, which is good. But we don't have electric windows. We have windy windows. We have no electric mirrors. We have no air conditioning. And actually, you could get a lot of 306s of this time with the Phase 2 cars with either a sunroof or air conditioning. The air conditioning you had to pay for a little bit more. The sunroof was standard, but a lot of people went for the air conditioning because it wasn't that much more. On the Equinox, I don't think you got the choice. You do get the steering wheel controls there, a little lever, which is not in focus of my camera. And I think actually we've got a sort of different centre console here on the dash. That's a bit different from the Phase 1 cars. As of the instruments, they are a little bit different. They're a bit less sort of eccentric. The Phase 1 cars are a little bit eccentric in the instrumentation. This is far more conventional. And we got a driver's airbag, which we didn't have on the last one we tested. We have got the correct top of the gear lever though, which is nice, I suppose. The handbrake in this car has just been adjusted to the MOT. It actually has a full year's MOT on it, this car, which is good, with a couple of advisories. But the handbrake feels a bit weird, but there we go. The clutch also feels a bit weird, but then lots of the sort of Peugeot clutches of the time felt a bit weird, if you're not used to them. And yeah, we got the classic kind of way of putting the headlights on here. One of the old 205s, the whole sort of stalk kind of was turned over, which was interesting. Double glove boxes, the top and down there. Can we get the secret mission documents in there, viewers? We'll have to see. And the answer's no. Disappointing. Never mind. Let's get that back in there. There we go, I'll have to do. Got some door pockets, although they're going to be really in the way of the windy windows. So you don't want to put too much in there because it's not going to end well. But yeah, driving position seems, it's not the best, but it seems okay. This one actually goes back a bit further in terms of the seat than the Phase 1 car that I tested last summer. It was a 94 with this engine. Yeah. Not an awful lot to say really, apart from what we've already said in here. We've got the sunroof and some interior lights, and that's about it. It's actually an electric sunroof in this car, which is nice. But I'm not going to touch it because it's a very old car. And I have this thing about sunroofs in old cars. Right, let's get in the back. See if we can get in behind myself. Maybe my central locking's not the best. Let's just see what it's like. Maybe that door doesn't like coming open. Okay, we're going to have to pull it from that side. A little bit of bubbling under there, but that's nothing to worry about really, I should think. Oh, and not the camera too. Oh, such typical things on no budget reviews. It's a nice wide door opening. Actually, we've got a lot more fabric on this door than we would have on a Phase 1 car. And also, we've got mat pockets on the back of the seats. Luxury views, absolute abject luxury. Got a way of sort of clipping in these seatbelt sort of buckles when you don't need them. You fold the seat, which looks like it's in one piece. Yeah, it's not a 60-40 split, it's an all-in-one this, and we've still got no head restraints. Never mind, I'm sure we can manage. So yeah, the seat does go a bit further back than in the Phase 1 car. Headroom is still kind of the same, it's sort of alright. The roof actually has this shape where it kind of goes up like this, so there's a bit more headroom than you'd imagine when you look at the car. And the doors are quite wide, so if you had the saloon model, known as the sedan, or the estate model, which was just the estate, as far as I know, then it would be sort of even better than this really. But actually for a car of this size, the legroom is sort of okay. If I move that seat a bit forward, which I probably could do actually, that would be a bit better. Yeah, it's got an ashtray down here full of snotty tissue, and door pocket at the back. That's handy, isn't it? Still got windy windows though, which you know, some of you like windy windows. Seatbelt height adjuster, that's good. Might use that a bit later when we go out for a drive and push it up a bit. But yeah, not too bad really. Everything you need and nothing you don't. Ooh, yeah, so the clunk clip seatbelt comfort control. Story of my childhood, viewers. Right, let's get out of here and have a look at the engine. Dead fancy views. You've got hydraulic struts. Isn't that good? We've also got the famous 1.4 Peugeot TU engine, in this case generating 75 horsepower. They're quite dependable engines on the whole, these. They can blow head gaskets, but it's not as common as something like, I don't know, a Mark 1 Fiat Punto of this era, or dare I say it, like a Rover 214 or something like that. There's actually a lot of space to work on the car if you want to. I mean, you can see where the oil filter is. It's just there. Lots and lots of space underneath the car. Gearbox is just here. So your cam belt doesn't look too difficult on this either. Obviously make sure that's been done if you are going to buy one of these, because I think the XU and TU petrol engines that come with the majority of these that we can talk about, they do have a cam belt, so just worth bearing in mind. Yes, kind of similar really in principle to the sort of 106 and 205 really. Same kind of suspension as those as well, obviously a little bit different because it's a bigger car. But yes, you know, some of you, this will be an extremely kind of nostalgic look at what was a very popular car back in, you know, the sort of late 90s when this was built, and a lot of them were built in Britain as well. Right, time for me to stop waffling and let's go out for a spin, shall we? One of the main differences between this car and the last 306 I drove is that this one's got power steering. Some of the early kind of basic specification cars didn't have that, but when they introduced the Phase 2 cars in April 1997, all of them came with power steering, which was quite an improvement because they are a bit heavy without it. 205s aren't too bad, but yeah, 306s are a bit of a heavier car. The other thing that has changed is that the driving position seems better in this car. I don't quite know why. I think the seat goes back a little bit further, but because this is quite a basic model, it doesn't have seat height adjustment, which is a bit of a shame. The gear change as well, it's a little bit on the floppy side, and that's really common on these cars, but it's again not quite as bad. Then this is a bit of a newer car and the mileage is a little bit lower, so that might be why. Steering hasn't really been sort of affected too much by having power assistance, and certainly on these country roads in Berkshire, this car it's driving really well. This is the basic engine available at the time. I don't think we ever got the 1.1 actually in this country. This is a 1.4 with 75 horsepower in it, but 0 to 60 figures about 14 seconds, but it actually feels remarkably kind of lively for some reason. I don't quite know why, but that's good. Next up in the range was a 1.6. The 8-valve version had 90 horsepower, and at this stage the 306 mainly still had the 8-valve 1.6 rather than the 16-valve, and I think came in with the Phase 3 cars in 1999. Above that there was a 1.8, which was available with both 8-valve and 16-valve cylinder heads. The 8-valve version was mainly used for models of automatic transmission, whereas the manual 1.8s by this stage had gone to the 16-valve version with 112 horsepower. The 8-valve 1.8 only produced about 103. Then we get into the really exciting stuff, which is the 2-litre models. There were two of them. One was the XSI, which had 135 horsepower, and then we get to the really crazy ones, the GTI 6 rally models with 167 horsepower. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. What we do talk about is the way this little car kind of dances around the road really well. Obviously the gear change they're not the best in this car. This one's a bit floppy, but it's okay. But even this basic 1.4, it's really set up very well. And Jeremy Clarkson used to say back in the 1990s that someone at Peugeot really understood what it was to get the right ride and handling balance in their cars. And this is why it was such a shame when the 306 was replaced in 2001 that the 307 didn't drive like this. And a lot of the kind of Peugeots of that kind of era, the 207 again, a big disappointment. It's one of the worst cars I've ever driven actually, was the 207. It didn't drive like this, and that is such a shame. 206 kind of is a bit like this as well, but a bit later they actually drive okay. But this, you know, from this era of Peugeot where, you know, the 205 was still selling in huge numbers right up until the year this car was made, 1998. And you can see why people would just sort of go from 205 to 106 to one of these and be really happy with it. I mean, I certainly would have been quite happy, but I would like a higher trim level with, you know, things like electric windows and air conditioning, and possibly the seat height adjustment, because this drive position, it's all right, but it's not the best. So the trim levels available on the Phase 2 306 were L, LX, GLX, XS, XSI, GTI 6, and the Rally edition, which was fun. The GTI 6 and the Rally had the crazy 167 brake horsepower 2-litre engine. Then there were a lot of special editions at the time. There was this Equinox, the Meridian, which was an even more popular special edition that went through to the Phase 3 cars, the Verve, the Vivant, and the Miami. So viewers, should you consider a Phase 2 306 with your hard-earned budget of up to £1,000? Well, I don't see why not. Actually, fundamentally, these are quite simple cars. If you look after them, if you make sure the cam belt's been done, the oil's been changed, and you check for rust. I mean, they don't rust as badly as you'd imagine a 1990s French car would. They were reasonably well protected, but they're an age now where, you know, likelihood is that there might be some rust creeping, and the place to check that you can't necessarily see is the inside of the rear wheel arches, where they kind of meet the boot, that kind of rust from the inside out. So just be aware of that. But generally, yeah, I've quite enjoyed this car. It seems better made than the later Phase 3 car that I drove many years ago, which is interesting. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again soon for some more inexpensive motoring.